Few murders are as chilling as what occurred in the rural town of Aberdeen, New South Wales in early 2000. The following is the story of Katherine, the cannibal. Katherine and her 3 siblings were born into a horrific family dynamic. Her mother, Barbara Ruffin, was in an adulterous relationship with her father, Ken Knight. Ken was an alcoholic who was openly violent and sexually abusive to Barbara, raping her multiple times a day. Barbara would openly confide in her daughter, confessing her hatred of sex and men. Katherine herself was sexually assaulted by various family members up to the age of 11. Her poor family life manifested in antisocial behavior at school. She suffered learning difficulties and was a solitary figure, taking to bullying younger, weaker students. At age 15, Katherine dropped out of Muswell Brook High School without the ability to read or write. She would eventually get a job in the meatworking industry at a local slaughterhouse. There she thrived, earning a set of butcher's knives which she kept over her bed, her most prized possession. In 1974, Katherine married co-worker David Kellett, who himself had an affinity for alcohol. On their wedding night, after 3 rounds of intercourse, Katherine attempted to strangle Kellett for falling asleep. Whilst Kellett survived the ordeal, more instances of grave concern would follow. On one occasion, a pregnant Katherine, enraged by Kellett returning home late from a darts competition, burnt his shoes and clothing, later attacking Kellett with a frying pan, resulting in numerous skull fractures. In 1986, Katherine met David Saunders, a local miner. Fearful of abandonment and infidelity, she mutilated his 2-month-old puppy, slitting the dog's throat in front of David before leaving David unconscious from a blow to the head with a frying pan. Undoubtedly, a chilling sign of things to come. Shortly after the birth of her 3rd daughter, Sarah, another violent physical altercation broke out between the two. Saunders was struck in the face with an iron and stabbed in the abdomen with a pair of scissors. This incident proved a turning point for Saunders, who fled the family home and went into hiding. In 1993, Katherine began an affair with John Price. A father of 3 at the time of their meeting, John was described as a lively, warm-hearted bloke, a stark contrast to the volatile, deviant Katherine. After a series of escalating domestic incidents against Price, in February 2000, Knight stabbed Price in the chest. Price would finally take out a restraining order against Katherine, revealing to colleagues he was fearful that Knight would eventually harm him and his children. On February 29, 2000, Knight made her way into Price's home. After having sexual intercourse, a tired Price fell asleep. Knight proceeded to stab Price 37 times. She then skinned his entire body, utilizing her expert skill. The next day, when Price failed to show up for work and his car remained in the driveway, his co-workers alerted the local police. On entering the home shared by the couple, police found a gruesome scene. There, hanging from a meat hook in the lounge, was the mutilated body of John Price. He had been decapitated. His head was cooking on the stove and his buttocks had been sliced off, cooked and served along with vegetables and gravy, a meal intended for his children. Police found Knight in a comatose state, having taken several pills. She was taken into custody and ambulanced to a hospital. Blood evidence revealed that amidst the violent stabbing, Price had awoken and attempted to escape. He managed to open the front door but was eventually hauled back inside the hallway, where he then bled to death. In a case that would attract unprecedented media and global attention, on October 18, 2001, Katherine Knight stood trial for the murder of her partner, John Price. Knight pleaded guilty to the charge of murder, though maintaining that she had no memory of committing the crime. Whilst psychologists diagnosed Knight as having borderline personality disorder, she was deemed fully responsible and cognizant of her actions. She was sentenced to life imprisonment. Knight remains the only woman in Australia serving life in prison without the hope of parole. To date, she remains imprisoned at the Silverwater Women's Correctional Centre in New South Wales.